Alright, hey Steelhead, it's Mojave Green, my son Little Rattler, and we put together, well, there's Little Rattler, come on in. Alright, we put together a video to share with you some of the things that we learned and some of the mistakes we made at last year's Pinewood Derby, so that you guys can avoid some of those mistakes and make a winning design and have some fun and learn some stuff in the process. That's what it's about, having fun and learning. It's a great opportunity. So first things first. You guys are building a race car, so let's make a cool looking race car. So this kind of 10-minute segment of YouTube video is going to be about the design, not so much about the construction, because we'll tackle that when we're together. It's about the design of the car, because once you get that right, construction matters about equal to design. You got to get the axles polished properly, the wheels, the car aligned. There's a bunch of stuff you have to do to get all those little things touched up right. But let's first talk about building the car. So Josh and I are the snakes, you know, Mojave Green's a rattlesnake. So we built this snake. Cool little snake, right? We both worked on it together. I think Dad might have put in a few more hours than the son, but nonetheless, Josh was there carving and cutting and drilling and painting and all the things that made it fun for us together. So a couple things to note. So online, there's a bunch of websites. I'll put some URLs up there. You can look at some pictures of other designs of other race cars that are fast. Or, you know, you could make the design after your adventure guide name. You can make it after the Steelhead, make it after his favorite sports team, Pokemon, Bakugan, Lego guys. Plenty of things to incorporate into your vehicle to make it engaging so that you both stay interested. But, you know, it is a race car. Alright, so template ideas. Online you'll find some template ideas, and I got this from a site that has like 7 pages of templates, and they're all really nice ideas. One major glaring problem though with these templates that at this particular site I'll give you is that they're backwards. Okay, so one of the 2 mistakes I made on this car was that if you notice the distance from the rear of the car to this axle versus from the front of the edge of this to here is that it's backwards. You should always have the axles that are closest to the edge of the block to the rear of the vehicle, not towards the front. Okay? So when you get your pine block and you open up this block that has these axles in it and this block of wood, you may want to just find the edge that's closest to the axle slot and put a B on it for back or R for rear, whatever you prefer. So there's your pine block. So a couple of other ideas to think about in terms of the design. The other thing another mistake I made is, you know, if you get more weight to the back of the car, let's talk about the principles of the physics here. You want to put more and more energy into the car. So you put more in by raising it higher because you're putting it up a ramp. And if the weight's to the front, it's at, you know, this part of the ramp. If you put the weight at the back, it's further up the ramp. It has more potential energy to turn into kinetic energy and have the car speeding down the track. So the first principle is get the weight up the back. Now, and you do that by putting the weight closest to the rear axle. If you get it too close to the rear axle though, the balance point of the car shifts and the car will become unstable. Okay? Second mistake I made is I just had to go one more little bit. I drilled a hole, put this extra weight in there, and then the car was no longer as stable. And he'd come down the track super fast, and when he got to the flat section, he'd start fishtailing, losing energy. So you can lose energy to friction, wind resistance, vibration, plenty of places. So let's talk about where you lose energy. You lose energy of the wheels rolling against the axle, the wheels rolling against the car body, wheels rolling against the track surface, or the edge of the wheels rolling against the edge of the track. Plenty of places for the wheels to encounter friction.
And losing your wheels. You want to make them stable enough so you do not lose them.
That's right, you don't want your wheels to fall off. So now one more thing is you notice that between the diameter of the wheel and where the slot is, there's still a little bit of block at the back end of this. So our rules allow us to drill a hole a little further back so the back of the wheel is flush with the end of the vehicle. So that allows you to shift that balance point of the weight a little bit further back and gain just a little bit of extra advantage. So you can do that. Another way, if you don't want to drill another hole, you can cut the back end of the block off, glue it on the front, so that, you know, has the advantage of pushing the vehicle a little bit further up the ramp, and you still get that rear axle flush with back and use the stock slots. Your choice of how you want to do it, but the main thing is get the slot to the rear of the car. Now, in terms of decorating it, this is a set of decals that I got at the Scout store. And you'll notice even on the template on the rear of this, they've got the axle slots swapped. So I think it's a mistake that a lot of people make, and it's one that hopefully none of the Steelhead will make, because I want a Steelhead in the winner's circle this year. Don't care who it is, as long as one of us is in the winner's circle. Well, it's not that critical. The key thing is to have fun and learn with your son, because you're going to be using tools, you're going to be drilling holes, you're going to be painting, you're going to be competing. All these things to engage and have fun with the other dads and have some fun. All right, so I think I talked about why you do that. A couple of things I want to watch on the design. So one thing on this guy, notice how he's got this pointed nose. Well, I would recommend not making a car like a rocket ship with a super pointed nose, because the starting block is just a little pin, and it's real easy for him to get off the center of the pin, okay, start misaligned. Or, as the case of the snake, when we were messing around, we didn't get the pin fully launched, and the snake rolled off, hit the ground, and broke his tail. So his tail's been broken twice as a result of coming out of the gate kind of wrong. So you want to make a, at least a sort of a flat nose. Well, let's talk about this vehicle. This is the Jalopy, all right? So we made this out of some scrap parts. I think it was the only one that had duct tape, smashed a couple fishing weights. We had the wheels in the back. And it turns out that this car set the track record. So this thing was super fast. And
before my dad loads all these holes and puts his extra weight, this car can beat that car.
It's all Dad's fault. So anyway, the good news about that is we learned a few things. So let's talk about a couple other things on the design. How much weight? So the wheels and the axles weigh about 0.6 ounces, okay? A thin little plank weighs probably about 1.5 ounces or thereabouts, maybe a little less, an ounce you can probably get them down to. So that means you're going to need about 3 ounces of weight, plus or minus 2.5 to 3.5, depending on your car. So this little ball here, it's about 1 inch in diameter. It's a lead weight I got from the fishing store. That's 3 ounces of weight right there. Or you can get, a handful of these 3/4 ounce egg sinkers. There's some rectangular lead weights you can use. There's rope weights. There's all kinds of different weights. But it's a good idea to have some idea of how much the size of the weight you're going to need, so that you can, sort of plan for it in your design. How many holes are you going to use?
Cube weights, rectangular prism weights.
That's right. So I think that's it. So in terms of the design, I think there's a lot of them online. They all sort of look in some ways the same, but you can make lots of variations. As a wedge, start thin at the front, and then go to a thicker profile in the back. That way you can drill holes and put the weight in the back of the vehicle.
Most all of the things online all wrong.
Are wrong with this, right? But but now we know. And then you can take it and you can notch it and put different profiles in it to make it look like a Formula One, make it look like a pencil, make it look like a fish. There's any number of things you can do with a basic wedge design. Or leave it as a wedge and just put decals on it, put your Lego guy on it, however you want to incorporate a cool design. All right? So that's it. The next thing you're going to do is, after you've got your car figured out in terms of your design, is you're going to start the construction. So you need a couple other principles. You need to polish the axles. There's a great YouTube video on how to polish the axles and get those nice and highly polished. You're going to put the wheels on. Now this year I noticed the wheels that come with these kits are a little lighter, and they're domed hub, and these are going to be a faster wheel than the wheels we had last year. So if you got some of last year's wheels around, you had an extra car, didn't use it, don't use them. Use the wheels from the new kit, because they're going to be faster than the wheels from last year. And they look a lot sort of higher quality. They don't have a gate from the molding process right in the tread of the wheel. So I think they're pretty good right out of the box. One other thing in terms of conserving energy, it takes energy to get the wheels to spin. All right, there's energy that gets converted to that. So if you have one of the front wheels raised up off the track, so either bend the axle or drill the hole slightly higher, then that wheel, the energy that's you put in the car when you put it up the ramp, won't have to go into getting that wheel to spin, and it'll go into moving the car forward. So that's always a good speed trick, is to have one of the front wheels raised so that it doesn't touch the track, and you'll get a faster car out of it. And then you'll of course want to get it all aligned, and we're not going to talk much about alignment right now, because we'll be doing that at Jason's when we do our test track. So guys, that was just what I wanted to tell you about.
Okay, Dad, good.
I think we're going to end the video right now. Let's have a great race.